Now, this is late March 2018, and tax professionals are cramming to prepare taxes. If you're just getting in to get your taxes done, completing a tax organizer will save you and your preparer time and money. I will try to make this as brief as I can without leaving out any important information. If you use a tax professional to prepare your taxes, or even if you use off-the-shelf tax preparation software, you will be asked a series of questions. Now, taxpayers often love how this works with the off-the-shelf software, as it makes it easy to gather the information they need. But when it comes to completing a tax organizer for a tax preparer, it seems more daunting. It is because how it is presented. Alternatively, clients just want to give their preparer the proverbial shoebox of receipts and expect the preparer to figure it out. The additional time a preparer spends on that is billed to you. That can range from $50 to more than $100 per hour for compilation of your data. Now, completing these client tax organizers will save you money on professional fees. Recently, many of the professional tax software companies that supply the tax preparer industry have greatly improved the client tax organizers that is a part of the package. This makes it as easy as using the off-the-shelf tax software. The client tax organizers are now fillable PDF documents that you can easily complete, save, and send to your tax preparer securely. The security of your information is very important due to the rampant electronic data theft that occurs these days. Hi, I'm Gary, and welcome to TaxBulldog for the best thoughts and ideas for trimming your taxes. And these videos are to help you to help yourself to avoid costly professional fees. Now, before I start, I have to make a few disclosures that are important. For purposes of brevity, I will list these in the description below, so be sure to read them as they do contain important information you're going to need to know. In these videos, I will make references to links and resources on the web. Often I will display them on the screen, and I'll put them in the description below. So to get down to this subject, in this quick video, I'm going to talk about completing client tax organizers to save you money on taxes and tax preparation fees. Now, each year, I send out a tax organizer to clients in late December or early January. A tax organizer is a tool for you so you can account for everything that is relevant to your taxes and some items you may not have thought of that may otherwise go unclaimed. This helps to reduce your tax and get a larger refund, and it also helps reduce the tax preparation fees. Now, when completing these tax organizers, always save your work when you complete each page, and always before closing or transmitting the organizer to your preparer. Be sure to remember or note where you save the document to on your computer so you can retrieve it later. A lot of people will just conveniently save it to their desktop. Another reason for the tax organizer is that the tax preparer is required to have in their file information that confirms certain aspects of your tax return. If the tax preparer does not meet their due diligence requirements, they may be subject to some serious sanctions, fines, and penalties. Now, much of the information is pretty easy. If there is a question or item you do not understand or you're not clear about it, leave it blank and the preparer will review that and follow up with you. Now, tax organizers do change each year as the tax law changes. 2018 will have some big changes because of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. For a brief overview of how it impacts people, see this link in the description below. Now, the tax organizer I'm going to cover in this video is the one for 2017 taxes from Drake Software, which is a professional level tax software firm. Not a consumer program, as these cost upwards of $1,000 per year. In the tax organizer sent to you via the web, the first 4 documents are the introductory letter, the privacy policy letter, the engagement letter, and referral coupons. Then you have the pages of 1 through to the end of the organizer. The tax organizer you receive may vary in the number of pages as it's designed to present data from the prior year and to get new data for the current year. Now, a comprehensive tax organizer may be as much as 20 pages long or more. If you are a new client, you will probably get this comprehensive tax organizer. It's a catch-all for all the unknowns. Your tax preparer may have additional questions for you beyond that. When completing these tax organizers, always save your work when you complete each page, and always before closing or transmitting the organizer to your preparer. Be sure to remember or note where you saved the document to on your computer so you can retrieve it later. A lot of people will conveniently save it to the desktop. The pages 1 through 3 are a series of checkboxes designed to capture any new information to address further. On page 1, not all the checkboxes have to be checked unless it applies to you. A lot of that is reminders about things that were on last year's return and that may be applicable to this year also. On pages 2 and 3, all the boxes need to be checked as a yes or a no. As I mentioned earlier, if you're unsure, leave it unchecked and your preparer will follow up with you. On the rest of the forms, I will go through just a few just to give you a feel on how this works. Here I will cut to my computer screen to show you the tax organizer. Once we've gotten past the first 3 documents in the tax organizer, we get to the first page of the tax organizer itself where we have to complete some information. Now, to tell which tax year organizer you're working with, the tax year is the top left corner here. And then each page number is in the top right corner. This first page is a checklist of information you need to include in your package to your tax preparer. Some of this will list some information from prior years if you had a tax return done with this preparer before. And it'll also ask some additional questions in regards to other information that may be new or changed for this year. Now these questions are just check boxes that you check off for the ones that apply. Not all of them may apply to you. If they don't check the box. The next page is page 2. Now this gets into some yes or no questions, and you have to check it off either a yes or a no, one way or the other. So you go through the questions, answer them as best as you can. If you don't know the answer, if you don't understand it, leave it unanswered, and your preparer will follow up with you to ask you for more questions. Now the next page, page 3, is the same thing with more yes and no boxes that you have to answer affirmatively one way or the other, or leave blank and your preparer will follow up with you. Then the next page, page 4, is the same kind of thing with these yes and no checkboxes. Now, the next page, page 5, is where we get into some more information to start completing. Now, this is your personal and dependent information. So this is your basic demographics information, your name, address, social security numbers, phone numbers, emails, and so forth. Then you get to your marital status here, where you'll fill out whether you are married or single or a widower. And then over here, we have questions about being blind or disabled or a student or the election campaign fund. And then you can check these yes and no boxes for the taxpayer and for the spouse. Down this next section is dependent information. Here you will list your children or anyone who is your dependent. And you'll give their first and last name, their social security number, their relationship to you, how many months in the home with you, if less than 12 months, their date of birth, whether they're disabled, they're a student, and if they've had health care coverage all year. This area here is about estimated tax payments, if you've made any estimated tax payments for the year. If you had a refund applied from the previous year, that will show up here, or you can enter it here. If you've made any quarterly estimated tax payments, you can list the dates that you've paid them and the amounts. And the same for the state and your localities. Also, any additional payments that you paid in for the tax year. The next page, page 6, is health coverage questionnaire. Here you'll have listed each person on the tax return and dependents, if any. Then you'll answer the questions about being covered for the entire year or for less than 12 months or no coverage at all. Then some other questions that they ask about in regards to health coverage. The next page, wage and salaries. Usually that will be reported to you on a W-2. If you receive W-2s from your employer, you can just send those to your preparer and skip the pain of completing this particular page, because it's just replicating a lot of data, and your preparer will most likely extract the information from the W-2s that you send them. If you have the W-2s, skip this page. On the next page, we get into interest income. This brings up some things here, kind of a first time here. You have this where it says TSJ. What that stands for is taxpayer, spouse, or joint. In this first box here, you would fill in a T, S, or a J, depending on whom this particular interest income is for. Here you'd list the payer's name, their ID number, and their address, and the income, if any tax was withheld, and the other questions. Now, all the information for this will be listed on the form 1099-INT. So you can extract all this information from that to put onto this. Then at the bottom here, it's going to ask you if you have any signature authority over any financial accounts or assets located in a foreign country. So that's a yes or a no. If you don't know, don't answer it, and your preparer will follow up with you on that. Okay, on the next page, page 9, and this says for dividend income. You will receive a Form 1099-DIV for that, and that'll give you all the information you need for completing this. Same as with the interest one. Next page is page 10. And this is a Schedule C for profit or loss from business. Here you fill out the basic information for the business, question about family health coverage, how much is relative to the self-employment income, what your gross receipts or sales were, your cost of goods sold. If you're selling a product, you'll be listed here. Next page, page 11, is where we list the expenses for the sole proprietor business. And you'll notice these blue columns here under 2017 on all these forms is the ones you want to fill in. They're the ones you can. You can't do the 2016 at all. And then this gives you a lot of different categories here where you can list your expenses and the amounts for those. Any that do not fit into these categories, you can put in down here under other expenses, and you can type in a description and then the amount for that. Next page, page 12. This is about the sale of capital assets. The capital assets are stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and so forth. Then you'll receive a 1099 form or 5498 form. It'll give you the information that you need for this. If you have any questions, ask your tax preparer. Next page is Schedule E. Now this is about income or loss from rental real estate and royalties. Rental real estate is where you own a property, such as an apartment building or a house, and you rent it out to others. You'll list the basic information here, all the rental income, and the expenses that go against the rental income. For royalties, from oil, gas, minerals, whatever, even from copyrights and books, such as my book, I get my royalties, and that's where I report it is here. Next page is page 14, and this is itemized deductions. Here you'll fill in the columns for 2017, and if you can itemize, it depends on whether or not you can exceed the standard deductions. Usually if you have a home mortgage, that's one key factor that means you may qualify to itemize. If you can itemize, sometimes you can get more deductions than what the standard deduction will give you. Now the standard deduction for 2017 was for married filing joint was $12,700. For single, $6,350. For head of household, $9,350. And for married filing separate, $6,350. Now for 2018, with the new tax act that came into place, all of these standard deductions are going to double. So it's going to take a higher bar to try and qualify to itemize your deductions. But then again, that gives more tax benefit to a lot of people too. So if you're going to itemize, you'll have your medical and dental expenses you would fill in here, taxes that you paid, state and local taxes, real estate taxes, personal property taxes, such as vehicle license plate renewals, any other taxes that may apply. Interest paid would be like mortgage interest and qualified mortgage insurance premiums and any investment interest. Charitable contributions for any cash or property contributions that you make to church or charities, Goodwill or Salvation Army. Job expenses, such as out-of-pocket expenses that you need to incur but you don't get reimbursed for by your employer. Or you may have some Form 2106 expenses you can list here too. Those are employee business expenses. Also, union dues, uniforms, tools, and such. Tax preparation fees for what you paid for last year's tax preparation. Other non-personal expenses that are related to taxable income, such as hobby income or gambling income. You may have some expenses to offset some of that income. And some other miscellaneous itemized deductions. So this is the final page in this example, and depending on the complexity of your situation, there may be more forms to it. If so, your preparer will let you know. So that completes this example. Now your tax preparer may have additional questions for you beyond this organizer for items applicable to state and local taxes. So in summary, tax organizers save you money on your taxes and professional fees. Tax organizers help you find items that are important to you for filing a complete and correct return to avoid any problems and to maximize your refund or minimize your tax bill. Now always save your work when you complete each page and always before closing or transmitting the organizer. Be sure to remember or note where you saved the document on your computer so you can retrieve it later. A lot of people will conveniently save it to the desktop. Now here are some resources, and I'll put these in the description below. TaxBulldog.com. This is my website with many articles, documents, forms, and other information regarding to dealing with taxes and audit issues. And I try to demystify things. /IRS Back Taxes book. This is a book that I wrote with my co-author, and it's available at this link. TaxBulldog here on YouTube for helpful videos. And I'll put the link to that in the description below. Then we have IRS on YouTube. Now this is a treasure trove of helpful videos for taxpayer. This is very good information. So in closing, thank you for watching this video. If you liked it and you got some useful information and ideas from it, please give me a like and share it with your family, friends, and colleagues. This is all I do, and I do it well. Please subscribe to see my future videos as I produce them, so you're going to be aware of topics that may be timely and important for you at that time. Be sure to hit the bell icon so you will not miss out on any new information. Please leave your comments below. I can answer general questions here, but for specifics, please contact me at TaxBulldog.com. Thank you.